Hey, this is Mike. Thank you so much for choosing this video. Today we're checking out a 2024 Subaru Impreza in the RS trim level. This vehicle is sitting on 225/40 Yokohama tires wrapped around 18-inch alloy wheels with a gloss gray finish. It also has four-wheel disc brakes with ventilated rotors on all four wheels. The name of this color is Magnetite Gray Metallic. And the sun is shining right now, but you can see the clouds reflecting here in the hood. Hopefully you can get an idea what the color looks like. It's a metallic gray and looks pretty nice. Now some of the black accents on the vehicle kind of blend in with this type of color. So right in here is a gloss black in this portion. See right in there the gloss black, and then that kind of lines up the badge, and then you have the matte black there for the grille with no frame, and then matte black here at the bottom. But the bottom portion is kind of like a carbon fiber type look, but it's not carbon fiber. You have more gloss and matte blacks here around the fog light. Now I have a full night video, you can check it out, for the headlights and everything. They are in a projector LED headlight system, and the fog lights are in a reflector LED headlight system. The eyesight safety system here for the adaptive cruise control and the lane centering system, it's completely like sealed up here. So it's sealed up to the glass instead of having an open spot below it. So it seals up, so you're not getting any glare or reflection from the dashboard, that kind of thing. So that's something that they've improved on recently. Now looking at the profile here, you can see this is the hatchback. They don't have the sedan anymore from what I understand, so it's just the hatchback, which looks really good. I think would be my choice anyway. So you see it has a gloss black portion here at the very base of the doors. You see how it kind of blends in with this particular color, but it doesn't have it here on the front. It just has it here underneath the doors. And the side mirrors are also a gloss black. The handles are body colored, and this pillar right here is a matte black. It does have the full proximity key system, and you see the key here. Lock, unlock, the ability to release the trunk or the lift gate, and then a panic button here. And the key is kind of rounded, not super heavy. It does have a little bit of weight to it, but it's okay as far as carrying it around. But it is a full proximity key system, so basically has the sensor here to lock it and there to unlock it, so it's pretty easy to use. And then there's a physical key here location on the driver's side only. Here's the inside of the passenger side door, and you can see it has this mostly black, but it has this red stitching right in here, French design, double stitched. The armrests are kind of like a plasticky soft, but they are soft. This is a cloth material. And then you have hard touch here, 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 everywhere else. Pockets there at the bottom, speakers. Some threshold area. And it has a two-tone cloth seat. The red, kind of like maroon red. And a little pattern there in the center. Manually adjusted seats here as well. There's the floorboard. A little bit of tapering here on the right side, but overall plenty of room. Hard touch glove compartment cover here, non-locking, smooth plastic, pretty good size glove compartment. Now this is like a metallic gray, similar to some of the accents on the vehicle, like the wheels and stuff, and it extends here as well. This is soft touch, non-reflective soft touch, kind of rubbery soft dash. Getting in and out of the vehicle is fine. I mean, there's plenty of room here in the opening of the doorway. And the swing of the door is nice there on the front. Same thing with the back. The swing of the door is nice. Just the overall opening here is good. Now there's a little bit of a taper there at the top for your head, but overall hadn't had any problems or complaints with people getting in and out of the back. Here's the inside of the back door. You still have the stitching, soft touch armrest, but most of the door is going to be a hard touch surface back here. Just a little threshold area. It has like little mountains. The back seat is a bench seat, basically, that has the backs that fold down. Armrest cup holders here. That lifts up. It also has car seat attachments here behind these little covers. Floor goes in quite a ways, so that way your knees aren't sticking up in the air so much, but there's a significant hump there in the center. It does have a USB-C and regular USB charge ports there. Pocket on the back of this passenger seat, but not the driver's seat, this pocket here. Fuel door is here on the passenger side, and it locks with the vehicle. And see, it has a traditional cap, tether, and a place to hang the cap there on the inside of the door. Taking a look at the back of the vehicle, it has a flat black shark fin antenna right here, gloss black rear spoiler, and that's where you'll find the third brake light kind of integrated into the top of the glass there. It does have a rear wiper, combination of standard and LED tail lights. You can check out my night video for that. The backup camera is a little bit offset here, so it's right there. This particular vehicle has a little scratch right there. It just came in like that. Alright, so you can see the badging back here. Now this is a relatively reasonably priced all-wheel drive Subaru, so with a really good ride quality. So this is one of those vehicles you want to take a look at. This one is in the RS trim, but you can get lower trims that are really well priced. Now these are reflectors down here at the bottom. These are not lights. All the lights are up here. To open the hatch, the button is right here in the center. Just press it and it releases it, and you just lift it up. It's really easy to lift up. It has hard plastic on the underside. And here's the cargo area. When you don't have, when you have all the seats occupied with passengers, this would be the cargo area. You can fold these seats down and add to your cargo space if you want. You can also take that little rolling shade there out completely as well. And then you can have a wide open space back here. So it gets quite a bit bigger. But as it is, you can see it has the hard surfaces there on the sides, like little pockets there. You can utilize these little round things as bag holders. You also have tie downs as well. Not the best interior light here for the cargo area. You can see my night video to find out why. And this lifts up. Now this is just laying here. This cover is just laying there. You can pick it up, move it out. You just take it right out. It doesn't weigh that much. But underneath here is this huge styrofoam piece. Instead of a spare tire, and we have a tire inflator kit, a jack and stuff like that, tools, and a little bit of extra space under here. But you can take this styrofoam piece out if you wanted to and put a spare tire and probably have more cargo space underneath, you know, like subfloor cargo space. But yeah, it's pretty good. I mean, as far as like going to the store, getting groceries and stuff, I wish I had more grocery bag holders. It just has these ones here, one here on the side, but it'd be nice if it had a row of them on each side. Would be nice. And that way it'll be a spectacular grocery getter. Here's the floorboard in front of the driver's seat. It hooks in place. Also, you have the sporty pedals here with a footrest. Let's take a look under the hood. To open the hood, there's a latch right here, basically in the center, right above the badge here. Just reach in, move it to the left, and you can lift up on the hood. Not very heavy hood, fairly light. And then it does require a prop to hold it up. There's the prop there, and it swings up. You actually have two locations. You have one here, so normal height, and then you have a second location here for the higher height. So this has the typical Subaru boxer engine that has a lower center of gravity, where two pistons go this way, two pistons go that way, and you have a cylinder head on each side. The intake goes to both sides, as well as the exhaust, which goes on the underside of each head on each side. So the complete exhaust is below the vehicle, and all the intake is above. So that kind of helps out with the thermodynamics, the getting the heat away from the vehicle as you drive. Lowers the center of gravity, and it's pretty interesting design, you know, overall, a boxer engine in general. Batteries are easy to get to over here. And pretty much everything on this vehicle under the hood is easy to get to, even the oil filter. Check it out. It has the blind spot detection system with rear cross traffic alert, and the indicator is right here on the inside of the side mirror, right in here. So it illuminates. You can't see it right now, but it'll illuminate when there's a vehicle in your blind spot. So the driver's side door is just like the other side, except for it has a few more buttons for the power windows. The front two are automatic up and down. Door lock control, side mirror adjustments are here as well. Now the driver's seat is a power seat, unlike the passenger seat. So you can go up, down, tilt, all that kind of stuff, and a two-way lumbar adjustment. To the left of the steering column, there's some blank buttons for additional switches or whatever. Then the only thing here is the dimmer switch for the interior gauges. That also dims the screen and backlit buttons as well. You can just check out my night video. There's also a tilt and a telescoping steering column as well. You lock it in place here. I'm sitting in the driver's seat. I have the driver's seat all the way back and all the way down, and I'm 6 feet tall, to give you an idea of the potential legroom here. And it's been fine. I like the way this right here is kind of pushed in this area, because this is a hard plastic, but it's right where my knee goes, so it kind of gets it out of the way nicely. Same thing with the left side. There's plenty of room here. Now I have the seat a little bit further back than what I normally drive, so if you're a little bit over 6 feet tall, shouldn't have really a problem or anything. Just overall comfortable seat and really good ride quality. It's just been a pleasure to drive, as far as like the ride, the sound, the just overall comfort. So the steering wheel, it's a leather wrap steering wheel, and it has a stitching there on the inside. And it has that gray type plastic accents here, and quite a few buttons. Once I got used to it, it's not a big deal, but there's quite a few buttons here to get accustomed to, because they're kind of separated. So here on the right side is a cruise control. So once you do have to turn it on, you can't just go ahead and set it. So when you start the vehicle, you need to turn it on, and then you can go ahead and set it. You can turn on the steering assist here. It also automatically has the lane keep assist, where it just kind of bumps you back if you start going over the lane, that kind of thing. But you can turn this on, and it kind of keeps you centered in the lane. Pretty good. It's mostly works fine. There's a couple instances where it was kind of fighting me, but you can set and resume here. Change the distance between you and the vehicle in front of you using the adaptive cruise control, and it uses the eyesight cameras. There's no radar system, but I like the way it has two buttons here, one to increase the distance, the other one to decrease the distance. Some vehicles just has like one button and you have to cycle through, and sometimes you're cycling it through and it's like speeding up to the car in front of you or something, because because you have to cycle through to a lower distance before you can get to the further distance, that kind of thing. But this, you can give a precise, you can do precisely what you want. Now this right here is the SI mode. So S would be, it gives you like this little torque curve up here, right here, when you turn it. So basically what it does is try to keep you at lower speeds, higher RPMs, to give you better acceleration, but it's going to cut back on your fuel economy, that kind of thing. So basically the S mode is like a sport mode. I is just kind of like an intelligent, normal mode, basically. Well, it will adapt to how you're driving, basically how hard you push the accelerator for the most part. It is a CVT transmission, so there's only so much you can do there, but it does a good job. It does have simulated shifts sometimes, and I'm not really a fan of that, but it works really well. The overall driving experience. Here on the left side is the volume for the radio. Bluetooth, you can answer or you can hang up, and I like the way it has 2 buttons once again, instead of 1 button to answer and 1 button to hang up. Because let's say you have 1 button and you have a call coming in right after the one you're hanging up on, and it answers the next call and you don't know about it. So having the definitive hang up button separate from the answer button, I like that a lot. And then you have the voice recognition here. You can push that to initiate it. So the volume is here for the radio, but you can see it's separated. Here at the top is to change through the tracks and to change the audio source here. In the middle is this little toggle switch, and that corresponds with that little screen. We'll get to that in a second. It does have paddle shifters to give you some kind of control over the speed ratio on the CVT transmission. It's not changing gears, but it kind of changes the speed. It changes the ratio there, so you're able to downshift, going down hills, that kind of thing. Windshield wiper controls for the front and rear are on the right side, and then on the left side is the turn signal. But it also has the headlight switch here, so you have the ability to turn it off, automatic parking lights and headlights, and then the fog lights are controlled here. Now, I do have a night video showing all this stuff if you want to check it out. I like the way the gauges are relatively simple. You have white lettering, black background, and very simple, easy to read. The tachometer here on the left side with the engine coolant temperature. On the right side is the speedometer with the fuel gauge. It even has a little arrow pointing to the right side, showing you that the fuel door is on the right, and a little RS badging there as well. But here in the center, it's a very, very basic screen here, and we saw the little SI. So when you hit the SI drive, you can see the curve there changes, kind of cool looking. But we have the trip here at the bottom with the odometer, what gear you're in and all that stuff, and you can reset the trip over there, that button. But right here in the center, it shows a vehicle that's supposed to be this vehicle, and you can see when I push the brakes, the little brake lights turn on, which is kind of neat. Kind of reminds me of Spy Hunter. Digital speedometer, and also the status of the adaptive cruise control and the lane keep assist system. So as you're driving, once you have it all set up here, you can turn it on and off, and you can set the distance between you and the vehicle in front of you, and the status of the lane keep assist as well. Now you notice it has right here the clock and the outside temperature. As I use the little toggle switch here, remember that, we can cycle through and get more information. Including tire pressure, which will show up when you drive. So that's kind of a quick rundown of the gauge cluster there, which is working well. Now we see the start button there. Now the touch screen is nice and tall and has a lot of information. It does have the physical volume knob, physical turn to the stations, four-way flashers, front and rear defrosters, and then the driver and passenger temperatures for the climate control. Those are all physical there on the sides, but you'll notice that there is a big screen with a lot of stuff on it. It's showing a little bit of glare on the camera, but it's not as big a deal in person, so the glare hadn't really had an issue with it. So you can see it's separated. So you can see this top part and then this bottom part are different from the center part. So you keep that in mind. This top part, we can kind of slide this over and get different information here. You see it does have a clock, outside temperature. All right. So when you click on stuff, it starts giving you shortcuts. But if you can slide it, you can get different information at the top. Let's go back home so don't get too confused here. Now the bottom part is the climate control. So when we hit the climate control, it pops up here in the center, and we can make our adjustments if we want to. Right in here are shortcuts: the home, vehicle settings, Bluetooth settings or phone settings, Apple CarPlay, Android Auto, that kind of stuff, and then user settings there. You can set that up. It also has a button here for turning off the stop, start, idle, stop system, which I turned it off, obviously. When you turn it on, it has a little status light. So you have these little segments. Now here in the center, you see it's similar to a phone where it has these little tile icons. So you have your radio here. Turn that down. And then you can see they have the presets there, and album art and all that stuff on the satellite radio. And you can also, direct tune, or you can go through the channels there. All right. Media, once you have your phone paired, you can manage it here. You have USB device, iPhone, auxiliary input. Very different options for your media. Your phone, once you pair that, you'll have access to recent calls, your phone book, and all that stuff. Different apps are here. So Android Auto, Apple CarPlay, Subaru Starlink, Travel Link, which is a great app for traveling. You can find gas stations and stuff. You can sort by price and all kinds of stuff. Or it's just really handy. Travel Link is good. And then My Subaru, which is an app that goes on your phone, and you can interact with your vehicle. You can go into your settings here, just your general settings. You can adjust the display, the brightness, and also turn the display off. Alright, Starlink once again is there. Subaru, My Subaru app. Car information is here. So this will give you the status of the all-wheel drive system as well as the pitch and roll of the vehicle. The percentage. We're on level ground now, so everything's 0%. You can go into maintenance as well, which is really handy. You can turn the display off there. These are little shortcuts, and you can reposition and add shortcuts if you want. You do have valet mode, auto vehicle hold, and vehicle dynamics control. You can go in here, turn it off if you want to spin tires, or if you get stuck or something with the all-wheel drive system and you need that extra spin, you can do that. So that's kind of a quick rundown of the screen. Once you segment it in your mind, the different parts, then it's a little bit less overwhelming, because certain screens have a lot of information on the screen at one time. So it's not that complicated once you understand it. Now there's USB ports here. USB-C, regular USB, and auxiliary input there. There's a wireless phone charger, which is really handy. And a little spoiler for the night video, it does have a little light here as well. Alright, and there's the shifter. Let's go ahead and put it in reverse. When we put it in reverse, the backup camera pops up here. And it's very wide view, so you can see all around behind the vehicle from the bumper to the sky. And it has active guidelines here, so as I turn the steering wheel, you can see them moving. And since the camera's cut a little bit offset, those active guidelines help out a lot, especially that center position there as well. Alright, so moving on, neutral, drive, and then you can go into manual mode, and then you can basically use the paddle shifters if you need to down. This is mostly for downshifting, going down hills. It does have heated seats for the driver and passenger, 2-stage, high and low. And then here is the electronic parking brake. When you engage it, it engages the rear wheels. I did have a Subaru like back in the 80s that engaged the front wheel, but it was like the handbrake. Back then they would engage the drive wheels on the Subaru, so the drive wheels on this particular case was the front wheels. So it engages the rear wheels. There's a blank button there. Now here's the cup holders, and they're pretty basic. They don't have any kind of arms that take up any slack, but it does have these little rubber pieces that go down in the bottom. So let's say you have shorter cups, you can put those in there, and it kind of lifts up the cup a little bit higher. So it has two of them, comes with two of them. And you can stack them, I guess, if you wanted to. 12-volt power supply is here. Also a little storage compartment here. Now this is kind of hard plastic in there, so whatever you put in there is going to slide around. Here's the armrest, and it has a pretty soft, rubbery soft, better than the armrest on the doors, but this one is still soft. It's like it's soft, and then it has like a rubber part on the underneath it, so it's hard to bottom it out. You know, there's no hard surface really that you can tell anyway. You lift it up and you can see it stays wherever you put it. So I lift it up, it just stays wherever. I like that, it doesn't flop down on you. Here's the compartment here, and there's no light in there. That's a little bit of spoiler for the night video. And it has like it's like a hard surface in here, including the bottom. So whatever you put in there is going to be sliding around. Put my business card at the bottom so you can kind of see in there, because it kind of becomes like an abyss because it's so dark in there. It'd be nice to have, basically, if you take some white or light colored felt and put in the bottom of these compartments, it helps out with seeing stuff in here a little bit better. It does have places for wires to go in and out of the compartment here and here, but there's no like charge ports or anything in there. But like say if you want to plug in a device here, run the wire through there and and put your device in the compartment while it's charging, you can do that. Rear view mirror is a manual day and night mode, and you do have the roadside assistance buttons here. The ability to have the interior lights turn on with the door or off, that feature off here. Now it does have where you turn on all the interior lights is over here on the dome light, and it's the same deal, on, off, or the door there in the center. I don't know if you can see that. And then these buttons, these are just lights that, you know, like a reading light or whatever, you just tap them. This is for the sunroof. We'll get to that in a second. The visor has like a vinyl plastic material covering it up. Mirror and light. It does not slide. It has the extra piece here to add to your coverage. There's like a little place to put stuff there. Okay, sunroof. So the sunroof has a shade that covers 100% of the light, and so you can just move it back like so. This one is to tilt it, so we can press that and tilt it up. Press it forward to tilt it down, and then we have this one, a separate button to slide it. Sometimes I like the separate button to slide it, and then that way you don't have too many controls on one button. Press it again, it goes a little tiny bit back further. Looking at the visibility in the back, you can see those headrests kind of line up with the pillars, and then you have those little windows back there at the final pillar. So it's actually pretty good. I hadn't had any issues with visibility looking over my shoulder or out the side mirrors or anything like that. So yeah, it's pretty good. It also has the rear cross traffic alert, blind spot detection system, the backup camera, all that technology to also help you out with driving the vehicle safely. All right. Anyways, thank you for watching, and this is my first like Subaru loan vehicle from actually coming from Subaru. Typically I go to Parkway Subaru and I don't have that much time to spend with the vehicle, so I'm able to spend a lot of time with this one and really enjoying the overall driving experience, especially for a vehicle in this price range. It's pretty impressive. And the all-wheel drive system, that's just like a cherry on top. You just have the extra, you know, capability there. So yeah, Subaru did a great job with the Impreza, I think. Fun to drive. I think it looks good. Very practical with the hatchback, and a lot of room as well. Very surprising. So the backup camera is kind of small considering the size of the screen, but it's still useful. You can see behind you and everything. Not super high clarity or anything, and it's just where it's located. It could be a little bit improved, but it serves its purpose. It gives you a wide view behind the vehicle. It has the guidelines there and everything, so that's okay. It's really easy to steer, like just driving around in a parking lot like this. And the thing that stood out to me when I first started driving it was you have a connection to the road, but it feels dampened nicely to where it's just a nice ride while you're driving, and pretty much all driving conditions so far. It just feels like it disconnects you from the road just enough to where you're not bothered by every bump, but yet you don't feel like you're floaty too much. Also, the noise is the outside noise is kept out well, and it's just an enjoyable vehicle to drive. I mean, it's not a huge, heavy vehicle, but it kind of has that feeling like huge, heavy vehicles have, where it feels so solid. Now, there's a little bit of a stepped acceleration with the CVT transmission, which me personally, if you're gonna have a CVT, just stick with the linear acceleration. I don't really care about stepped acceleration to simulate gears, because the whole point is to avoid that stepped acceleration, is to get that, you know, just non-stop holding it down to the torque to the road constantly, and not having to release that and then re-engage it like gear shifts would introduce. But it's fine. It's not like a big deal or anything. I just kind of noticed that while I was driving, that CVTs seem to like they can't let go. A lot of them just can't let go of that stepped acceleration. They have to include simulated gear shifts for some reason. But I don't know if you're noticing it, but outside noise is no real wind noise. There's no vehicle sounds. There's very little road noise. You can hear the engine a little bit. Probably that's the loudest thing, is the engine. Also the climate control fan. I have it turned low. Other than that, those are the two things that would stand out. Okay, so let's go ahead and go get up to 55 just so we can. Now this is a fairly smooth road, but there's very little, tiny bit of wind noise. It's just a smooth ride, and the smooth, like I said, this is a good road. There's not a lot of bumps or anything on it, but even on the bumpy roads, it just feels nice. It handles the bumps nice, and it just feels like you're planted, and you feel like you have good traction, and you don't feel all the little bumps. Now the braking feels a little bit weird to me. It's not weird, it's just I'm not used to it. It has a different feel. So when I hit the brakes, it's really good. I mean, it really stops the vehicle nicely. But it just has a little bit of a different feel than what I'm accustomed to. Now with Subaru's SI mode, S is kind of like a sport mode, where it gives you that higher RPM range at a lower speed, so that way you can really stay in the ideal RPM range for the engine, so that way you can have that more instant torque, that more, you know, it's closer to that torque range. And then the I mode will kind of just be like a normal, you know, just a normal acceleration. So that's what the SI to me is. It's just it's kind of like a sport mode or regular mode is what it boils down to when you experience the vehicle. And the cruise control and the steering assist system works well. It does have a little bit of a aggressive steering assist, but it's not really fighting you, but it does a decent job of keeping you in the center of the lane when it sees the lines on the road, and it usually does. It hadn't had any problem with that. The adaptive cruise control part, usually some vehicles kind of have to me, a little bit too close of a following distance. This one actually, you can have you put it at the furthest distance, it's fine. Another thing is, well, actually, I pulled it in a little bit from the furthest distance. Now, another thing is it has two buttons, one to increase that distance, the other one to decrease that distance. Instead of having one where you cycle through, you can actually have more control, because if you're cycling through, then, you know, it just kind of messes up if you're like behind a car or something, you start cycling through, then, you know, the vehicle starts slowing down rapidly and then speeding up and stuff like that. But this one, you can just, you know, do it in increments the direction that you want to go versus the cycling part. So this road right here gets a little bit bumpy, so it hopefully will demonstrate that it's actually a pretty smooth ride and fairly quiet as well. But yeah, I'm pretty impressed with it's not like a super fast vehicle or anything like that. It doesn't really get that great of gas mileage either for what it is. But as far as comfort and just driving, okay, so here's the bumpier part. Get a little bit of road noise now. But, you know, the camera kind of amplifies some of this, but to me, just experiencing it now, it's not a big deal. It's not like some other brands where it becomes it impedes your conversation with the person next to you or something. It's fairly quiet in here. I mean, you can have a conversation. You can at all the speeds that I've driven this vehicle, you can just like no problem as far as the noise level and the smoothness of the ride as well is really impressive, especially for a vehicle in this price range. It is well done. The overall comfort of the vehicle, as far as me getting in and out and all that stuff, you know, it's a little bit low. I mean, for the type of vehicle, it's fine. It's not like on the ground or anything. For me, I prefer a little bit higher, but it's fine. It feels good. The seats haven't had any problem with the seats. And the actual environment is nice. Where right here, where my knee to the right is kind of scooped out, which is perfect for me. So my knee's not, you know, crammed against some hard plastic or anything. And yeah, just enjoyable. Armrests are nice and soft. Steering wheel feels good. It could be a little bit thicker, but it feels nice. And yeah, I enjoy driving this vehicle. Like I said, it could get a little bit better gas mileage, because right now it's showing 24, 25 miles per gallon. And it's not a fast vehicle, and it's not particularly super heavy, so I'm not sure why the fuel economy isn't a little bit better. But, you know, it is an all-wheel drive, okay? So, in the environment that I drive it on, the all-wheel drive is not really an issue, because it's always, you know, like there's no snow or ice, and I don't go off-roading or anything. Okay, I have the cruise set at 65, and once again, I mean, there's a little bit of road noise, but not a big deal. Tiny bit of wind noise. Feels good. Definitely wouldn't mind going on a trip with this type of vehicle. Feels solid. Some vehicles, when I get out on the highway going fast, it just feels a little unstable and a little uneasy. Now, most modern vehicles don't do that anymore, but I've experienced it, and it's not fun. So this one definitely feels solid. You see the blind spot detection system light is here on the inside of the side mirror. That's really handy. Sometimes the indicator being on the mirror can get confused. You can get confused with other lights and reflections and stuff like that. But having that on the inside of the side mirror stands out as a separate thing. Also, it's not very noticeable. It goes away when it just completely disappears and blends into the style of the vehicle when it's not being illuminated.